Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so we got this great question from a listener. Can you use that tub of marine grease you might have for your boat on your RC car?
Yeah, it's a common thought, right? You've got grease, the car needs grease. Why not?
Exactly. So we've dug into the research, looked at analyses of what marine grease is and what RC cars need.
And our mission today is pretty simple. Cut through the noise, give you the core info, maybe a few aha moments without you needing a chemistry degree.
Perfect. So marine grease, let's start there. It's not just generic goo, is it? What's its deal?
Not at all. It's engineered really specifically for fighting off water and stopping corrosion. Think boats, docks, harsh marine environments, saltwater, freshwater.
Yeah.
Its main features are like exceptional water resistance. They actually test how well it resists washout, plus really good rust protection, and it's very sticky. It has to cling on even when splashed constantly.
Sticky, right. And what's usually in it? What makes it do that?
Well, you've got base oils, could be standard mineral oil, petroleum-based stuff, or sometimes fancier synthetics. Then thickeners give it that grease consistency. Things like calcium sulfonate are common.
Okay.
Then additives, polymers for more water fighting, inhibitors for corrosion, stuff to handle pressure and wear. Usually it's about the thickness of, say, peanut butter. An LGI grade 2 is pretty typical.
You mentioned mineral oil, petroleum based. Now, shifting gears to RC cars, isn't that sometimes a warning sign?
It absolutely is, and that's where we need to look at the RC car itself. These things aren't just metal anymore. They're a mix of materials.
Yeah, lots of plastic.
Exactly. Nylon, ABS, composites, alongside steel, aluminum, rubber parts. Very diverse.
So you can't just slap one lubricant everywhere.
Definitely not. You've got gears in the transmission, the differential, bearings, suspension pins, drive shafts.
Yeah.
They all have different needs. Sealed diffs need silicone oils for tuning. Open diffs might take grease.
And the plastics. That mineral oil thing.
That's the critical point. Those petroleum-based mineral oils found in many marine greases can actually damage common RC plastics. Think swelling, weakening, even cracking over time.
Oh, wow. So not just making it slow, but actually breaking parts?
Potentially, yes. Silicone-based lubes or synthetics like PAO are generally much safer for plastics. You can't just assume plastic tub chassis means it's safe.
Got it. Okay, and you mentioned gears earlier. I remember reading something counterintuitive about the exposed ones. The big spur gear?
Yeah, that's a big aha moment for many. Lubricating exposed gears like the main spur and pinion gear, often a bad idea.
Really? Why?
Because they're out in the open. Any sticky grease just becomes a magnet for dirt, dust, grit. And that mixture forms an abrasive paste. It literally grinds your gears down faster than running them dry.
So running them dry is better. That feels wrong.
It does, but in that specific case, yeah. Or use a dry lubricant that doesn't attract dirt.
Okay, so let's put it together. Marine grease on an RC car. What are the real pros and cons?
Well, the potential pro is obvious, the water resistance. Maybe for a rock crawler going through streams or a basher in mud, it could help prevent rust. But the cons are pretty significant. First, that huge risk to plastics we talked about. That's a major red flag.
You're right.
Second, marine grease is often thick and tacky by design. That creates drag. Your car will likely be slower, your batteries won't last as long, and your motor might run hotter.
Less performance, basically.
Yeah. And third, that same tackiness that resists water, it grabs onto dirt like crazy.
Yeah.
So outside of maybe sealed transmission gears, it can actually accelerate wear by creating that grinding paste.
Especially on things like drive shaft joints or suspension parts.
Exactly. Plus, you absolutely can't use it to tune seal diffs or shocks that requires specific silicone oils.
So it sounds like the community might be divided, like bashers might use it, but racers wouldn't touch it.
You see some of that online, yeah. Some people running crawlers or bashers in wet conditions might say they use specific brands like Lucas Marine or Maximal Waterproof Grease, maybe on metal gears. But the risks, especially with plastics and performance, are always there.
Okay, so if marine grease is mostly out, what should people use? What are the safer bets?
The absolute best option is usually lubricants made specifically for RC cars. Brands like Tamiya, Associated, Traxxas, Hootie, they formulate their stuff knowing the materials and demands.
Makes sense.
Beyond that, some general-purpose options can work. White lithium grease can be okay, but you need to check if it's plastic safe. Some have petroleum bases. Silicone grease is generally very safe.
What about things like super lube?
Super lube is often a good choice. It's typically synthetic, often PAO-based with PTFE, so it's usually plastic-friendly and performs well. Then you have specialized stuff like moly grease for metal on metal, and those dry lubes for exposed parts.
So the final verdict on marine grease for RC cars, thumbs up or thumbs down?
It's generally a thumbs down. The potential benefits in wet conditions are usually outweighed by the very real risks of damaging plastic parts, increasing drag, and attracting dirt.
Stick to the RC stuff.
Pretty much. Or at least verify that any alternative is definitely plastic safe and suitable for the specific part you're leaving.
All right, clear advice, the right stuff for the right job, always. And it does make you pause and think, doesn't it?
Mm.
Well, you consider how much tech and specific design goes into these RC cars, how they handle stress. Does grabbing a generic, kind of close enough product like marine grease ultimately just hold your vehicle back? What other simple maintenance things might actually be way more complex than they seem?
That's a good question to ponder.
Something to think about next time you're working on your car. Thanks for diving deep with us today.